whose graceful silhouette traces the "From whence did the entree of life?" Chanting "Sea of Spores emerge, adorned with the delicate shells of turtles." And why does a majestic tree stand tall amidst the scorching swamps? Lastly, let us unravel the origins of the ethereal elves in the first part of this captivating series, a race brought to life by the divine hands of the gods. In a time long past, beyond the bounds of our imagination, there existed a sphere that held within it the entire expanse of the universe. This sphere encompassed both grandeur and subtlety, darkness and light, all-encompassing and yet infinitely minuscule. Gradually, two distinct essences began to grow within it, eventually taking form as the embodiments of light and darkness. The embodiment of light embraced the grace of femininity and bestowed upon herself the name Einhasad. The embodiment of darkness embraced masculinity and chose the name Gran Cain. As they broke free from the confines of the sphere, it shattered into fragments. Birthing the vast expanse of the heavens, the flowing waters, and the fertile lands. Even the spirit of the sphere, known as ether, succumbed to this cosmic metamorphosis. Thus, this transformation gave rise to a myriad of flora, fauna, and wise giants, who in turn imparted the promise of unwavering faith in the divine duo of Einhasad and Gran Cain. As time unfolded, the gods brought forth their progeny, 5 chosen beings blessed with dominion over the realms. Shillen, the eldest daughter, was bestowed with control over the element of water. Pagrio, the eldest son, held the fiery forces of the element of fire within his command. Mayfer, the second daughter, found herself entrusted with the nurturing embrace of the earth. Saiha, the second son, became the master of the winds that swept across the lands. And in the realm of elements, the youngest, Ava, found her purpose as the muse of verses and melodies, adorning the world with her enchanting presence. Einhasad was the goddess of creation, shaping forms through her own spirit. Her children used their powers to breathe life into these forms. Shillen imbued the spirit of water into the first form, thus giving birth to the race of elves. Pagrio infused the spirit into the second form, giving rise to the orc race. Mayfer instilled the spirit of earth into the third form, creating the dwarves. Saiha channeled the spirit of wind into the fourth form, resulting in the birth of the Earthea. Gran Cain, on the other hand, was the god of destruction. When he witnessed Einhasad's achievements, curiosity mixed with envy ignited within him. He replicated Einhasad's actions and created his own form according to his understanding. For the creation of living forms, only the following spirits remained: the spirit of impoverished land, the spirit of fading fire, the spirit of mad wind, and the spirit of putrid water. Behold the beings I have brought into existence. Witness those born from the spirits of water, fire, earth, and wind. They shall surpass the strength and wisdom of the giants. They shall reign over the world. However, the outcome was dreadful. These creations were feeble, cunning, and cowardly. These beings were humans. Thus, the existence of elves owes itself to the goddess Shillen, the eldest daughter of the goddess of creation, Einhasad, and the god of destruction, Gran Cain. Einhasad crafted the form for the elves from a leaf of the Tree of Life. The first elf was a woman, the mother of all elves, who, in her quest to preserve the eternal youth of the Tree of Life and prevent its withering, merged with it, becoming one with it. It is her silhouette that can be glimpsed when closely observing the tree in the elven starting location. The forest surrounding the tree became the first home for the elves and the guardians of the forest, their earthly paradise. Just as the first elf was created from a leaf of the Tree of Life, Einhasad fashioned 4 other creatures. From the shoots of the Tree of Life, the Ents were born. From the butterflies fluttering on its branches, the fairies emerged. From the goats grazing near its roots, the fawns came to be. And finally, from the spiders dwelling in the shadow of the Tree of Life, the arachnes, Narupa and Orphan, were created. Later on, 4 more trees of life appeared, which can be found on the map. One is located in the Elven Forest, another is not far from the Elven Fortress, the third is near Lake Iris, and the fourth is in the center of the Elven Village. Priest Tanyos in Haina speaks of the Tree of Life Inadril, which was planted from a shoot of the Tree of Life. However, his search was unsuccessful. Additionally, in the Dragon Growth quest, it is revealed that there are 4 other trees whose roots span unimaginable distances to touch the mother tree. After Gran Cain seduced Shillen and she became pregnant, Einhasad, upon learning of this, became furious and banished her from the continent, depriving her of power over the water element. Gran Cain also turned away from Shillen, leaving the former goddess to face her misery alone. While pregnant, she fled to the east. Deep within the depths of a dark forest, she gave birth, cursing her mother and father. The children born of Shillen carried the despair and anger of her curses and became demons. The most powerful and strong among them were called dragons. There were a total of 6 dragons against the 6 gods. Gathering the strength of her children, Shillen created an army to punish the gods. During the battle, it gradually became clear that this would result in a complete defeat for Shillen's army. Eventually, the surviving demons descended to the earth. However, the exhausted gods were unable to pursue them. Deeply saddened by the defeat, Shillen created the underworld and began to rule over it. After Shillen's exile, the goddess of water became Eva. Those who remained faithful to the mother tree became followers of Einhasad and Eva. After the devastating flood caused by Eva's irresponsibility, she gradually started to fulfill her role as the goddess of water and Mother Nature. The elves never mentioned Shillen's name again. The new generations of elves believed that Eva had always been their goddess. The next division occurred between the giants and the gods. After Shillen's fall, the giants no longer saw the gods as reliable protectors. Relying on their own strength and wisdom, the giants decided to prepare for the possibility that the fickle gods might unleash their wrath upon innocent earthly creatures. Unfortunately, this step enraged Einhasad. The ensuing war ended with the extermination of the giant race. Chaos ensued. The races of the land prayed to the gods for help, but the heavens remained silent. The elves managed to unite the races and continue their lives. The orcs were the first to rebel against their rule. The elves suffered defeat after defeat. The children of Pagrio outnumbered them and possessed greater strength. The elves were cornered on the edge of the continent and sought help from the dwarves. However, the dwarves refused to stand with the weak. Left alone, the elves were surprised by the arrival of a foreigner among their ranks. He bowed and kneeled before the Elf King. "What do you seek, ruler of the despicable humans?" the Elf King spoke. "Have you also come to mock our defeat?" The human bowed and said, "No, wise king. We have come to inquire if you might need our humble army." The elves rejoiced, for they believed humans to be foolish and weak. However, their numbers could be useful in battle. "You are secondary beings, but your loyalty and willingness to sacrifice yourselves for the sake of my people speaks volumes. Stand at the forefront of our army, and you shall earn a worthy reward." The human king bowed low, then lifted his head, and looking into the face of his new ally, said, "Noble Elf King, we, the humans, have one more request of your majesty before we enter the battle. We are weak. We implore you, great king, grant us the strength to endure the battle. Teach us your magic." This audacious request angered and outraged the elves. They were already prepared to annihilate the contemptible human when the elven queen Biora intervened. The humans were too weak and would hardly stand a chance against the orcs without assistance. And with their feeble minds, even if they possessed magic, humans posed no threat. The training of humans took place on the Speaking Island. This is mentioned by the guard Kenius, standing at the northwest entrance to the village. Humans quickly absorbed knowledge, learning much faster than the elves had expected. Human bodies, not as strong as those of orcs, were still fortified through hard labor and constant infighting. And most importantly, the number of humans was great. The human army gradually began to prevail over the orcs. When the scales tipped in favor of the alliance, the dwarves abandoned the side of the orcs and began producing military supplies for humans. With new, rock-solid armor and sharp dwarf weapons, humans easily defeated the orcs without the help of the elves. After a series of victories, in honor of the friendship with the human race, the elves planted a beautiful garden north of Aden. And the most beautiful feature was a huge tree growing in the center. This tree was related to the mother tree in the elven village. And the burning skeleton of the giant tree still smolders on one of the hills. In the end, the orcs were forced to sign a humiliating peace treaty and return home to the northern part of Elmore. In honor of the victory and as a symbol of the alliance between the two races, an obelisk of victory was erected near one of the early human settlements on the Talking Island. But the world was on the brink of a new war. Humans proved to be capable learners, but, as expected, poor companions. Having gained the main advantage of their ally, magical knowledge, They no longer saw a reason to share power with them. Now humans outnumbered and surpassed all other races in military strength. Soon, Queen Biora of the elves, who had been teaching magic to humans, was killed by them. Later, she would be resurrected by Lilith under the name Morellian and become the ruler of the catacombs. Unfortunately, what happened to the Elven King is unknown. However, power was assumed by a council of 12 tetrarchs. For example, from Tetrarch Asterius, it can be learned that he is the only one of the 12 tetrarchs who remained in the village and rules on behalf of the true sovereign, Voldurin. The wars between humans and elves unfolded in the northeast of the Elven Forest. Later, this place would be called the Sea of Spores. The outcome of the war proved devastating for both sides and all the forest inhabitants. The guards of Orin, Magister Gain from the Ivory Tower, Rizrael, and the merchant Gabriel from the Elven Village recount the aftermath. Lacking significant magical support, the elves decided to resort to forbidden magical spells, which led to the contamination of the battlefield and the abnormal growth of fungi. The spores released by the swamp began to spread to neighboring areas. According to Gabriel, even though it happened about 2,000 years ago, there are still places in the Elven Forest where mushroom plantations flourish. Overall, the Sea of Spores resembles a white desert. It is simultaneously cold and beautiful. The mold-covered mounds found there serve a purpose. They are the shells of the enormous turtles that perished in the area. Guard Jaren from Orin speaks of the turtle shells. By completing a quest chain with Nicholas, one can learn that the turtles were allies of the elves. Fighting in the front lines, they provided the elves with an opportunity to retreat from the magic-affected area. It was there that the last representative of the turtle clan, Kruma, was mortally wounded and perished. It is evident that the golems from the Kruma Tower, who also remained in that place, fought on someone's side. All the warriors who did not manage to retreat became undead, and animals and plants transformed into terrifying, bloodthirsty creatures. Orphan, the younger sister of Narupa and the leader of the Arachnids, served as the guardian of the deceased northern forest. In her attempt to stop the war between humans and elves, Orphan was severely injured and trapped in a cruel battle. Subsequently, she fell into a deep sleep for several hundred years. When she awakened and saw the ravaged battleground that had once been a beautiful forest, she became enraged and began attacking humans and elves indiscriminately in the nearby areas. To prevent and halt the spread of the contamination, the wizards of the Ivory Tower erected a tower with a protective magical barrier. However, for a long time, they were unable to do so due to the rotten rapiro tree, which killed many mystics. While Orphan did not lose her sanity entirely, she became the cruel queen of the Sea of Spores, weaving a massive nest within it. She also did not cease her attempts to break through the barrier with the help of her servant, turning ambitious adventurers seeking her into her soldiers. One such adventurer was the formidable avenger Craven, who lost his beloved in one of the expeditions. In order to seek revenge for his beloved, he obtained immortality and now roams the Sea of Spores in search of Orphan. Realizing the devastating consequences of the magical war, humans and elves laid down their weapons. To avoid annihilation and maintain order and harmony in the forest, a new alliance was formed among the Guardians. Narupa, the elder arachnid, made a pact with the Mother Tree, gaining a portion of its power. Since then, she has become the strongest and immortal guardian of the Tree of Life. Following that, the senior leader of the arachnids made a pact with the fairy queen Timiniel, according to which their race was to become the guardians of the elven forest, the Mother Tree, and all the woodland spirits. Despite the peace with the orcs, the Elven Kingdom was periodically attacked by the lower orcs of Kabu from the Misty Mountains. The elves had been greatly weakened by wars with orcs and humans. Exploiting this weakness for many years were the exiled elves who settled in the dark forest to the west of the Elven Forest.